Hey everybody, this is Jesse with Nintendo Revised and I'm coming to you with another video. Now I wasn't actually planning on making this video, but some information has came out that I really want to discuss, and it's related to Gato Roboto. Before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that the footage being used on this video is specifically on the Nintendo Switch version of Gato Roboto. It has version 1.0.6 on the cart, which is the most up-to-date update of this particular game. So, Gato Roboto initially got printed and went up for pre-order through Special Reserve Games. Just to put a little context here, I had never purchased any game specifically through Special Reserve. This would have been my first time ever purchasing a game from them. So, what I went ahead and did is I pre-ordered it. I actually had the game digitally at the time and I really enjoyed it. Great game. So I wanted a physical copy. I had heard a lot of positive things about Special Reserve Games at that time, and I decided to take a chance. From there, I waited as I would typically do. Typically, whenever you order from these limited run companies, as a lot of you already know, you pay the money up front, you pre-order it, and then you wait a few months, and then you receive your game. The game, as far as I can recall at the time, had version 1.0.4 digitally. I assumed that since the game hadn't been updated for quite some time, that the physical version would more than likely come with version 1.0.4, and it would likely be complete on cart. I didn't think much about it. I ordered it and I waited for my game to arrive. Months later, I did receive the game. I put the physical cartridge in my Switch and then I went to launch it, and then I got a message where it says an update has been released. And the version on the cart at the time was 1.0.5, and then the update patched it up to version 1.0.6. I was really disappointed at this point because, again, at the time when I had the digital version, it hadn't received updates in a very long time. I had the game for, I believe, 2 years digitally at this point. Hadn't received any updates, and all of a sudden there was an update now with this new physical release, and of course the version on the cartridge wasn't the most up to date. From there, new information started coming out about a potential bug being found on the actual cartridge, and this is when I took it upon myself to actually do some research. And the way that I did this was by putting the cartridge into my Switch and running it for an actual test. Now, the specific bug that was found in the ventilation area, and once reaching the ventilation area there is a boss, and once you reach that boss the game would suddenly crash. And I did find a video of myself when I made the post. As you can see here, I made the post November 23rd of 2022. Alright, let's watch this video and see what I had to say at the time. Alright everybody, this is video proof that Gato Roboto, the physical version, is actually broken. So if I were to press plus, you can see it has version 1.0.5 on the cartridge. I did not download the patch. We can start the software. And we're just going to give it a minute to load here. It is slow to load, but it's loading. Alright, so press that. Go ahead and hit continue. Alright, Devolver Digital, blah blah blah. Okay, actually let me go back real quick. As you can see, I'm only 37.5% into the game. So not even that far, and it's only been about playtime of 2 hours, I think. Alright, and as soon as I come down here, this is the ventilation area. So we hit to the boss. I'm skipping through this real quick. and that happens. Software has been closed because of an error. I have tried this 3 times now, and every time I've get this software error, and it refuses to continue past this part. Okay, so future Jesse here. As you could see, as I mentioned in the video, the game just refused to go past the specific point that I had reached. At that point, I began to do some investigation. Not only that, but I was extremely upset because at this point I had already beaten the game 100% digitally. As I mentioned before, I did purchase the game digitally. It worked perfectly there. I had no problems 100% in the game under version 1.0.4. So basically, from my recollection, Doinksoft, which is the developer of this game, they ended up making a new version, which would have been version 1.0.5 for the physical cartridge. Well, once they created that 1.0.5 for the physical build of the game, it somehow introduced a bug to the game, and this is the bug that occurred. For whatever reason, they went ahead and printed the game-breaking version, which is 1.0.5, on the cartridge build, and decided to release it as an update. Oh, but it gets a little bit better. So I actually went back to some of my previous messages here, and as you can see, Doinksoft did indicate on July 6th of 2022 that the physical version will come pre-patch with the fix, meaning that Doinksoft had already indicated that version 1.0.6, which is the version that fixed the game, would actually come on the physical cartridge of the game. Now, this is another channel that I have for my son here, Game on Breathe On, and at the time this was the only Twitter that I was using, and so I did actually say it's not on the cartridge. Version 1.0.5 is the version on the cart. The fix is version 1.0.6, which is not on the cartridge. I decided at that point that I would start pushing back not only on Doinksoft, but I would also start pushing back on super or special reserve games at that point. Every single post that they made, whether it was Doinksoft or whether it was special reserve, I would get on there and comment, hey, what's going to happen with this Gato Roboto situation? Are you going to fix it? What's going to happen? Every single post. I was never trying to intend to harass anyone, but as a consumer wanting to have a non-broken product, I wanted to know what was happening. And at the beginning of this whole situation, I wasn't being as aggressive. I was just trying to get some information from them, and unfortunately they weren't responding. And without the response, that's when I started being more aggressive, and I started posting on everything that I could find, on their Twitter, on their Facebook, and even on their Discord. And I was not the only one that was responding under their comment sections. There were actually several people that I would see respond to almost every single one of their posts, just like I was doing. Eventually, Special Reserves and Doinksoft decided to put out a statement. Okay, so let's look at the statement by Doinksoft. And this was posted by myself on November 30th of 2022. And it says, Dear gamers, we'd like to offer an apology for the mistake made during preparations of the physical edition of Gato Roboto for the Nintendo Switch. The game shipped with version 1.0.5, which contained a progress blocking bug. As soon as the bug was brought to our attention, the game was patched with version 1.0.6, a mandatory update that fixes the issue. Unfortunately, the cartridges were already produced and did not ship with patch 1.0.6. We also apologize for preemptively stating that this patch would ship with the cartridge. Please connect your Nintendo Switch to the internet to apply the latest patch. Thank you for the patience and understanding, and we hope that you enjoy Gato Roboto. Now, in this statement, what I will give them credit for is that they did indicate that they preemptively stated that the patch would be on the cartridge. Now, remember, I did show a tweet earlier indicating that they said this, and they actually did acknowledge that, so I will give them props. Now, after this statement was put out by Doinksoft, Special Reserves also put out a similar statement. Unfortunately, I don't have that statement in front of me, so I apologize that I wasn't able to provide that footage here on this video. The reason for that is because Special Reserve Games did block me from all of their social media at the time. Essentially, the statement was indicating that because the cartridges were already in production by the time they were printed with version 1.0.5, they, as well as Doinksoft, had decided that the best course of action would be for the consumer to download the patch, and therefore it would fix the issue and no reprints would be coming in the future. We had a massive backlash on our hands at that point. The only form of communication that I ended up having at this point with Special Reserves was via email. And at that point, since I was blocked everywhere else, I needed to ensure that I had at least some sort of communication with them to express my, shall we say, disdain with the fact that they weren't reprinting the cartridges at this point. Based on my understanding, I got blocked from all of their social media accounts because of the fact that they considered it harassment. I do not believe that I was attempting to harass them. All I was trying to do is ensure that not only myself, but all of the consumers that purchased this game got the opportunity to get an actual good version of this print and not have to download this potential patch that will no longer be accessible once the servers went down. Well, eventually, this statement came out. So it says, "Dear SRG customers, Special Reserve Games would like to echo the statement shared by Doinksoft, developers of Gato Roboto, in regretting the lack of the patch 1.0.6 on the not being on the physical cartridge. As Doinksoft notes, they quickly patched the bug present in 1.0.5, but the cartridges had already been produced with this version on cart. To be clear, 1.0.6 is mandatory. Free update that will be applied to the cartridge once it is put into a console that is connected online, which fixes the bug." Okay, I would like to stop here for just a moment. They are saying that this is a free update that will be applied to the cartridge once it is put into the console. That is not true. Anyone that has had a good level of experience with the Nintendo Switch knows that any update that is downloaded is not applied to the actual cartridge. I'm not necessarily sure if this is what they meant, but the way that this reads, it's as if it's saying that once you download the patch, it patches the cartridge itself. And that is not what happens. What occurs is that the patch ends up being downloaded to your Nintendo Switch. But if you lose the patch, you do need to re-download it, right? Because it's not on the actual cartridge. So that brings up a problem. If that patch is not on your Switch, you have to re-download it. And once the servers are down, then you no longer have that patch available to you. We are a small company, and this will be a large expense for us, but we have decided that we will offer replacement cartridges to those customers who never intend to receive the update. We ask the customer do not request a replacement cartridge if they are satisfied with the existing cartridge. I have a lot of issues with this particular statement, as I do believe that Special Reserve was trying to minimize the amount of requests that they were going to get. But that's neither here nor there. That's just my personal take on it. And they go on to say, currently we are in the process of putting together a method of taking replacement requests and will email Gato Roboto customers about this once we have determined the precise course of action. Thank you for supporting us over the years and for sharing our commitment to quality physicals. That was essentially the end of the fight, right? We ended up getting our replacement cartridges, and what they ended up doing is they send out emails saying, if you want a replacement cartridge, these are the steps to follow. And here I'm going to show a photo of both the original cartridge and the reprint. As you could see, the front is exactly the same, has the same digits and everything. Nothing has changed here. The back is different though. As you can see, the original on the back was a 000, and then the revision is 001. And that is the version that has 1.0.6, which is the version that I currently have running in the background of this video. What was the point of all of this? Why am I bringing this up now? This happened back in 2022, so what is the point today? And here it is, the Doinksoft collection. This was actually just recently announced. As you could see, it's going to include Gato Roboto, Gunbrella, and Demon Throttle, all in one physical cartridge. And it's also been indicated that we have a multi-game package coming, one you can't get digitally. We have a second Devolver Deluxe Edition coming in an even bigger package. We have other plans in the works, and we'll give you a fuller update soon. I find it interesting because we did fight, really hard, myself and the community, to try to get this game reprinted, and it took a lot of work and a lot of effort. Special Reserve at the beginning and Doinksoft, they were really adamant that they would not reprint this cartridge, and of course they ended up doing so, but it took a lot of effort to get to that point. I'm not necessarily saying that this is a bad thing. I think it is actually a good thing, especially for people that missed out on the reprint and still have the broken cartridge, and this could potentially be the next best thing to get. I'm hoping that whoever prints this is not going to go and put 1.0.5 on the cart for Gato Roboto, and hopefully they will have the latest print. I don't see why they would do that. That would be absolutely stupid if they did. And this brings me over to Meridian Games. Now, I did do some research just to make sure. It does look like it's a valid company. They are the ones that actually announced this particular collection, so I do believe it to be true. I wouldn't be making this video if I thought that there was some, red flags at this point, but it does look to be, legitimate. And by the way, this is in Spanish, and I'm able to read Spanish, so I'll just let you know exactly what it says. So we're announcing a new game with all the creativity and originality of Doinksoft. We are putting one cartridge for Nintendo Switch. You could reserve your Doinksoft collection for the Nintendo Switch. This video game will come on August the 30th of this year. So I do find this interesting. I think it's great that we are getting another opportunity. At the same time, it is kind of strange because at the time when I started to fight for a reprint, never in a million years did I believe, at that time anyway, that we would get a reprint. And if I had known that at the time, maybe I wouldn't have went after Special Reserves and Doinksoft so hard like I did. That's my thoughts on that. And it's also cool that Gunbrella is going to get a physical print finally, because I've been waiting for it for a long time now. So it's cool just to see that there's a collection coming. Anyway, that's literally all I wanted to say on this video today. I hope you found it interesting. My story with Gato Roboto and how we got to this point. Go ahead and share your comments down below. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. You all have a wonderful day. Jesse, out.